Hail and well met, adventurers, and welcome back to Fantasy Forge. I'm Cameron Holt, and today I'm continuing my quest to redraw every monster within the 5th edition Monster Manual in my own style. Last time I took on some well-known aberrations, Mind Flayers, Intellect Devourers, Beholders. You can check out that video right here if you haven't seen it yet, and then you can come back to this one and finish it. Just finish it. This time we're getting down and dirty with the frontliners. The low CR, high volume beasties that every adventurer faces early in their career. So sit back, grab a potion, and let's get drawing. Orcs are known by most to be savage, brutal beings bent on destruction. But many don't understand where these stereotypes arose. The orcs that do have faith tend to worship Grumsh One-Eye, a brutal god that values strength over all else. When Grumsh laid claim to the mountains, he was remiss to see that they belonged to the dwarves. When he claimed the forests, they had already been taken by the elves. The other gods mocked and laughed at Grumsh, having no domain of his own. And so his domain became fury and rage. His people hated the elves most of all, as Karelin, god of the elves, was responsible for firing an arrow and removing one of Grumsh's eyes. But these days, in my homebrew world of Kavora, orcs have come into their own as an intelligent and respectable people. There are those that still follow the worship of Grumsh, sure, but others seek better lives for themselves and their families, just as humans, dwarves, and elves do. And just look at that beefcake, though. The next monster on the list is an absolute classic, Goblins. I decided to base my depiction on the Pathfinder illustrations of goblins, as their designs avoid many hurtful stereotypes that goblins tend to be subjected to in other media. As written, goblins are black-hearted, selfish, power-hungry little gremlins that thrive on doing evil deeds, spreading chaos across the realms. But in my style, I'm sure you're starting to sense a theme here, goblins are extremely tenacious beings, resilient and adaptable. In ancient times, goblins were the original children of the forests, living among the trees and wildlife. But when elves came to power and later men, so ended the peace within the Goblin realms. Scattered and driven out from their homes, they continued to do what they had to in order to survive. Their innately chaotic nature benefited their survival. These days, you'd be hard-pressed to find a goblin that knows the history of their people. Different groups became more and more splintered, telling the stories of the old times in their own ways, regrowing their communities with a mod podge of fractured history. Thus, there are a number of goblin communities, each with their own unique cultures and traditions, some for better, some for worse. But one thing is known among almost all goblins. Be wary of the tall folk, and if you find it, it's yours. The last monster of today's video is my personal favorite of the group, Kobolds. Kobolds are fascinating social creatures that are much cleverer than most would give them credit for. Kobolds tend to be physically weak, and as such rely on each other and their wits to survive. Kobolds can live to be centuries old, known as great worms, but few live past their first decade. Their god, Kurtlemak, was trapped in a never-ending maze by the god of gnomes as a joke, which has caused many sects of traditional kobolds to hate pranks of any kind. Their resourcefulness is unending, however, building vast complexes of tunnels with clever traps at every turn. There's an innate intelligence and craftiness to kobolds that gives them a proclivity towards magic, given the right opportunity and tutelage. But most toil away underground, protecting their herds, serving their dragons, gods, or rulers. But every so often, an especially clever kobold makes its way to the surface, answering the call of adventure. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe to the channel for more, and consider liking so that the YouTube gods may favor their followers with content from Fantasy Forge and shine their light down upon us. I also want to give a big welcome to all of my new subscribers, and don't worry, there's another D&D Pokemon Fusion coming very, very soon, as well as one of the biggest diorama builds I have ever done to date. All that, and much, much more. And don't think I've forgotten. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, there's going to be a special giveaway, and you're not going to want to miss this one. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the little bell. Come along for the ride. That being said, I will see all of you in the next video, but until then, stay safe out there, adventurers.